Ladies and gentlemen, there will always be noise. There will always be distractions. There will always be people who try to pull you into chaos that has nothing to do with your calling. But hear me. Your destiny cannot coexist with drama. Every minute you spend defending yourself, arguing with small minds, explaining your purpose to people who were never meant to understand it, is a minute stolen from your growth, your peace, and your progress. You weren't created to survive in drama. You were created to rise above it. The higher you climb, the thinner the air gets, and the fewer people can breathe with you. So don't be surprised when elevation requires separation. Don't be shocked when the path to your purpose becomes lonely. Greatness often walks alone because it refuses to settle in the crowd of confusion. Some people feed on drama because it distracts them from their own lack of direction. But you have a purpose that demands your full attention. You can't fulfill your assignment while fighting every battle that comes your way. You must learn the art of spiritual maturity, the power to stay calm in chaos, to stand tall when storms rise, to keep your eyes on the promise even when people try to pull you into petty wars. Peace is not weakness. Silence is not surrender. Sometimes silence is strategy. When you refuse to engage in drama, you're not ignoring the problem. You're protecting your peace. You're saying, got too much purpose to waste my energy proving myself to people who never believed in me anyway. Your purpose will require discipline. It will demand focus. It will call for a version of you that doesn't flinch at every distraction. Because purpose is a jealous thing. It doesn't like to share your attention. If you give your energy to everything that offends you, you'll never have strength left for what fulfills you. You must rise above the opinions, the gossip, the misunderstandings, the betrayals. Not because they don't hurt, but because they're not worth your destiny. Don't let the noise make you forget who you are and why you started. The world needs your gift, not your reaction. When you know who you are, you don't have to clap back. When you know where you're going, you don't have to explain the route. Some people will talk about you because they can't walk with you. Let them talk. Let them wonder. Let them misunderstand. You stay focused. You see, drama thrives where purpose is absent. But when a person truly knows their why, the noise begins to fade. You stop chasing validation. You stop explaining yourself. You stop fighting for attention. You just move with quiet confidence because you know the mission is greater than the madness. Keep your eyes on your purpose. Don't let temporary chaos pull you from eternal calling. You've come too far to turn back now. You've cried too many tears to quit because someone tried to provoke you. You've endured too many battles to waste your strength on proving points that don't matter. Stand firm. Stay focused. Keep moving forward. There's a peace that comes when you no longer react to everything. There's a power that rises in you when you refuse to come down to the level of drama. You weren't created to wrestle with noise. You were created to lead with purpose. I will not be moved by gossip. I will not be distracted by pettiness. I will not waste my purpose in people's drama. I will stay focused on what I was born to do. Because at the end of the day, the noise will fade, purpose will remain, drama will pass, but destiny endures. And when you reach the place you were destined to be, you'll look back and realize every moment you rose above the noise was preparing you for something greater. There comes a moment in every person's life when destiny begins to call louder than the crowd. A season when comfort can no longer contain you and familiar surroundings begin to feel too small for the vision that's growing inside of you. It's in that season that you discover one of the hardest, most necessary truths of growth. Elevation requires separation. You cannot rise and remain the same. You cannot evolve and still cling to everything and everyone that once defined you. There is a price for progress, and that price is often distance. Not because you think you're better than others, but because the next version of you cannot be built in the same environment that shaped the old one. The very atmosphere that once supported your survival may now suffocate your development. Separation is not rejection, it's refinement. When God or destiny starts to elevate you, he begins to peel away layers of attachment that can't survive at higher altitudes. It's like climbing a mountain. The higher you go, the lighter you must travel. You can't take every opinion, every habit, every friend, every comfort with you. The air gets thinner at the top, and only those equipped for that level can breathe there. Some of the people who walked with you in one season are not designed to walk with you in the next. They were part of your story, but not your destination. Doesn't mean they were bad. It doesn't mean you're better. It simply means the assignment has changed. When purpose calls you upward, attachments that aren't aligned will naturally begin to fall away. Don't chase after what destiny has released. If it was meant to stay, it wouldn't have left. Elevation will always expose what's meant for you and what's not. Some relationships will grow quieter, some environments will lose their meaning, and some doors will close without explanation. You'll try to figure out what went wrong. Nothing went wrong. You just went higher. You outgrew conversations that no longer feed your faith. You outgrew atmospheres that no longer stretch your mind. You outgrew the need for approval from people who were never meant to validate you. The pain of separation often hides the beauty of transformation. You cry because you miss what was, not realizing that what's ahead is greater. You mourn the absence of familiarity, not understanding that God sometimes removes comfort so you can embrace calling. If he didn't disturb your comfort, you'd stay stuck in average. If he didn't pull you away from the noise, you'd never learn the sound of your own purpose. When you start to elevate, you'll notice how your perspective changes. What used to excite you no longer satisfies you. The conversations that once entertained you now drain you. The same circles that once made you feel alive now feel limiting. That's not arrogance, that's awareness. You're beginning to see that your wings were never meant to be clipped by the expectations of others. Don't be afraid to outgrow people, places, and patterns. Growth doesn't mean disloyalty, it means obedience to destiny. You can love people deeply and still move differently. You can appreciate the past and still refuse to live there. The caterpillar doesn't hate the branch it once crawled on. It simply learns to fly. And when it flies, it doesn't apologize for no longer crawling. That's what elevation does. It transforms your capacity, your vision, and your priorities. Elevation is lonely sometimes. The higher you go, the fewer people can understand your language. The conversations shift from gossip to growth, from comfort to calling, from entertainment to enlightenment. Not everyone wants to talk about discipline, destiny, or divine timing. And that's okay. You weren't built to be understood by everyone. Some people can only recognize you at the level they last saw you. When you rise, they'll misinterpret your movement as pride because they can't see your purpose. The misunderstanding is a sign that you're moving. People who are comfortable where they are don't understand those who are being stretched. Don't come down just to make others comfortable. Don't dim your light just so others won't feel insecure. If they were meant to rise with you, they would be climbing too. Every eagle knows this truth. When it's time to soar, you can't fly in flocks. Chickens stay on the ground, but eagles rise above storms. They don't waste energy flapping in panic. They use the wind to lift them higher. That's the mindset of elevation. You stop fighting the pressure and start using it. You realize that even the storms that seem designed to break you are actually winds designed to lift you. Separation isn't punishment, it's preparation. You're being prepared for a level of impact that can't handle the weight of distraction. God will isolate you not to abandon you, but to anoint you. He will silence the noise so you can hear direction. He will pull you from the crowd so you can discover your own voice. The wilderness isn't a sign that you're forgotten. It's a sign that you're being formed. So when people start leaving, don't panic. Old habits no longer feel right, don't fight it. When certain doors close without warning, don't force them open. The higher you go, the smaller your circle becomes. But the smaller your circle, the sharper your focus. You don't need a crowd to confirm your calling. You just need clarity and conviction. Some of the greatest blessings in life come disguised as loss. You'll only understand it in hindsight. What you thought was rejection was actually redirection. What felt like abandonment was alignment. What looked like loss was making room for new capacity. If you keep holding on to what you've outgrown, you'll delay what's trying to reach you. Let it go. Let it fall away. Let destiny do its work. Elevation doesn't come to those who cling, it comes to those who release. You can't ascend while carrying anchors. So lift your eyes, lift your heart, and lift your expectations. You are entering a season where peace will mean more than popularity, purpose will mean more than people's approval, and alignment will mean more than attention. The higher you go, the less noise you'll hear, because the air is thinner at the top. And when you finally reach that place of peace, you'll realize that every separation was sacred. Every goodbye was guidance. Every lonely night was a lesson. Every door that closed was a divine, not here. Elevation requires separation, not to break you, but to build you. Not to leave you empty, to make you ready. You're not losing anything essential. You're shedding what can't survive the altitude of your destiny. Keep climbing. Keep believing. Keep releasing, because what's waiting for you above the noise is worth every tear, every loss, and every lonely season you had to walk through. The dust settles and the noise fades. You'll stand stronger, wiser, and freer than ever before. Proof that separation was never about subtraction. It was always about elevation. Peace is not weakness. Peace is not passivity. Peace is power. Quiet, unshakable, unmovable power. It's the kind of strength that refuses to be rattled by chaos, the kind of confidence that stands tall when everything else is falling apart. Peace is not found in the absence of problems, it's discovered in the presence of purpose. You can tell how mature a person is by what it takes to steal their peace. Immaturity reacts to every offense, every rumor, every disappointment. Maturity says, I choose peace even here. You reach a certain level in life where you realize not every argument deserves your words, every battle deserves your energy, and not every insult deserves your response. You begin to understand that your inner calm is your greatest currency, and not everyone has earned the right to spend it. There's a kind of strength that comes from silence, not the silence of fear, but the silence of focus. The world screams for attention, peace whispers direction. When you're grounded in peace, you stop fighting for control and start trusting divine timing. You stop chasing validation and start walking in alignment. You stop letting the noise outside dictate the stability inside. Peace doesn't mean the storm isn't raging. It means you've learned how to sleep through it. Think about that. Even in the middle of thunder and lightning, peace says, I know who's in control. Peace gives you the authority to face chaos without letting chaos enter you. That's power. To be surrounded by tension but not consumed by it. To be pressured but not panicked. To be shaken but still stable. When you find peace, you find clarity. You start to hear your purpose more clearly. You begin to recognize that not every opportunity is meant for you. Every voice is meant to guide you, and not every door is meant to open. Peace gives you discernment, the ability to know when to move and when to wait, when to speak and when to stay silent, when to fight and when to let go. There's something magnetic about peaceful people. They walk into a room and shift the atmosphere. They don't have to shout. Their presence speaks. That's because peace carries authority. When you've been through storms and survived, when you faced betrayal and didn't lose your joy, when you've walked through fire and refused to become bitter, you carry a peace that intimidates chaos. People won't always understand your calm, call you detached, unbothered, distant. But what they don't see is that peace is your protection. You've learned that reacting to everything only drains you. You've learned that not every offense is worth your energy. You've learned that peace doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care more about your purpose than your pride. Peace is the mark of someone who's been broken and rebuilt. You don't get peace from comfort. You earn it through surrender. It's when you've cried, prayed, and wrestled with disappointment, and you finally realize no matter what happens, you'll be okay. That's peace. It's not fragile. It's not borrowed. It's built in the fire of experience. When you walk in peace, you stop begging people to understand you. You stop explaining your decisions to those who don't share your vision. You stop letting temporary emotions make permanent decisions. Peace teaches you patience. It teaches you to respond, not react, to think, not panic, to breathe, not break. Some of you are praying for strength. What you really need is peace. Because when you have peace, you can handle pressure. You can make decisions with a clear mind. You can love people who tried to hurt you. You can lead when others lose direction. Peace gives you the ability to keep walking when you don't yet see the way. Don't underestimate the power of stillness. The world glorifies hustle, noise, and constant motion, but growth happens in the quiet. Seeds grow underground where no one sees them. Roots deepen in silence before branches reach for the sky. Peace is the hidden place where your strength matures. When you start prioritizing peace, you'll lose some people. Drama can't survive where peace lives. Those who thrive on conflict will find you boring. Those who need chaos to feel important will drift away. Let them go. Protect your peace like it's sacred, because it is. Peace is not a luxury, it's a necessity for vision. You can't build anything lasting from a restless spirit. Peace is the fruit of letting go. You can't hold grudges and hold peace at the same time. You can't keep replaying what they did and still expect to feel free. Forgiveness isn't saying what they did was right. It's saying, I refuse to let it control me anymore. Peace arrives when you finally release what was and trust what will be. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is nothing, not because you don't care, but because you care enough to wait for clarity. Peace will tell you when to move. Peace will tell you when to stop. Peace will tell you when to speak. Inner stillness is the voice of wisdom guiding you toward purpose. You'll never find real peace while trying to please everyone. You can't walk in peace and walk in performance at the same time. When your peace depends on people, it will always be unstable. When your peace comes from purpose, it becomes unbreakable. Because even if people change, your purpose remains. Even if circumstances shift, your foundation stands. There's something unshakable about a peaceful soul. The enemy can throw storms, but they won't sink. The world can throw insults, but they won't bend. Peace makes you resilient. It teaches you to stand when the ground trembles, to smile when the pressure rises, to rest even when the outcome is uncertain. Every great leader, every visionary, every person of impact has had to master peace. Because you can't lead others if you can't lead yourself. You can't carry the weight of destiny if you can't control your spirit. Peace is emotional discipline in motion, the ability to remain steady no matter how unstable life becomes. When you finally find peace, protect it like treasure. Don't trade it for gossip, for validation, for temporary attention. Guard it, nurture it. Build your life around it, because peace will keep you focused when fame fades. Peace will hold you steady when fear rises. Peace will whisper direction when noise surrounds you. So today, choose peace again and again. Choose to walk away from unnecessary battles. Choose to protect your mind from negativity. Choose to silence voices that feed your doubt. Choose to breathe before reacting. Choose to smile even when they expect you to break. Because peace is your greatest weapon. You don't need to prove your worth. You don't need to win every argument. You don't need to explain every move. You just need to walk in peace, because peace wins wars that anger never will. Purpose is not a game. It's not a hobby or a side project. Purpose is the reason you're still breathing. It's the assignment that wakes you up in the morning and whispers, there's more in you. And to fulfill that purpose, you must give it what it demands, focus. You cannot fulfill destiny while being distracted. Cannot chase everything and still expect to walk in divine direction. Purpose requires precision. It calls for concentration. It asks you to look straight ahead and refuse to be pulled into everything that glitters but doesn't grow you. The truth is, distraction is one of the enemy's most effective weapons. He doesn't need to destroy you if he can just divide your attention. Because divided focus is defeated purpose. You can't build with one hand and scroll with the other. You can't run toward destiny while looking back at what left. You can't move forward while holding conversations with things that drain you. Focus is the currency of purpose. What you give your attention to shapes your destiny. That's why you must be careful where your mind rests and where your time goes. Not everything deserves your response. Every opportunity deserves your wise. Some doors look good but lead nowhere. Some invitations are distractions dressed as destiny. When you understand purpose, you start guarding your focus like treasure. You realize not everyone can have access to your time, your thoughts, your energy. You start saying no more often, not because you're rude, but because you're responsible. You understand that every yes to distraction is a no to destiny. Purpose doesn't thrive in clutter, it grows in clarity. That's why sometimes life starts pruning you, removing people, habits, or routines that no longer fit where you're going. It's not punishment, it's preparation. Focus begins where unnecessary ends. You can't bring every part of your past into the place of your future. You'll notice that the more focused you become, the smaller your circle gets. You stop chasing validation. You stop needing approval. You stop explaining your every move. You realize that focus is freedom. Freedom from opinions, freedom from comparison, freedom from the weight of trying to be everywhere and please everyone. Some of the greatest losses you'll ever experience are distractions disguised as opportunities. They look appealing but pull you off course. Purpose doesn't chase popularity, it pursues alignment, and alignment requires discipline. Discipline to wake up even when you don't feel like it. Discipline to stay consistent when no one's watching. Discipline to stay focused when your flesh wants to wander. When you're focused, you stop confusing motion with progress. Just because you're busy doesn't mean you're productive. The world is full of people running fast in the wrong direction. Purpose demands that you not just move, but move with meaning. Every step, every decision, every conversation should align with where you're called to go. There will be seasons when focus feels lonely. While others are partying, you'll be preparing. While others are distracted, you'll be developing. While others are entertained, you'll be evolving. Don't resent that season. Respect it. Because purpose will promote what preparation produces. The silence, the sacrifice, the solitude. They're shaping you for something greater. You can't fulfill purpose if you're constantly reacting to noise. Some of you are losing energy trying to convince people who will never see your vision. Stop explaining what was never meant to be understood. Focus on what you were born to do. Let your work speak for you. Let your results silence the doubt. Focus doesn't mean you won't face setbacks. It means you won't let setbacks stop you. It means when doors close, you keep knocking. When people leave, you keep walking. When storms rise, you keep standing because you know where you're going and no distraction, disappointment, detour can make you forget that. There's a certain fire that burns in those who are focused. They don't have time to gossip. They don't have time to complain. They're too busy building. They understand that every moment wasted on drama delays destiny. They know that what's ahead is far too valuable to risk on something temporary. Focus sharpens your vision. When your eyes are fixed on purpose, you stop being jealous of others. You realize that no one can take what was meant for you. You stop comparing timelines because you understand purpose is not a race, it's a revelation. You move at your own divine pace. Purpose demands that you stop multitasking your destiny. You can't serve two visions. You can't follow your calling and chase comfort at the same time. Focus means sacrifice. It means saying goodbye to convenience so you can say hello to greatness. It means choosing what's eternal over what's easy. Sometimes focus means walking away from the noise, walking away from environments that feed your weakness, walking away from relationships that keep you small. You don't have to hate them, just outgrow them. Because you can't fulfill purpose while staying loyal to places that limit you. Focus is not about perfection, it's about persistence. You may stumble, you may get tired, you may even lose sight for a moment. But when purpose lives inside you, it pulls you back on course. It whispers, you can't quit here, there's more in you. Purpose has a way of reviving your strength when your flesh feels weak. The world will try to distract you with noise, fame trends, opinions, fears. But remember, the enemy doesn't attack the distracted, he attacks the destined. He wants your focus because he knows if you ever become fully focused, you become unstoppable. You become a force that nothing can derail. When your focus is locked on purpose, peace becomes your shield. You stop being moved by criticism or flattery. You no longer need to prove anything. You just keep working, keep believing, keep building. Because when your eyes are fixed on the vision, your steps naturally align with the victory. Focus is the discipline to choose long-term fulfillment over short-term excitement. It's saying, I'd rather be effective than popular. It's knowing that results will speak louder than recognition ever could. Focused people don't chase applause. They chase accuracy. And when you finally start walking in that kind of focus, everything around you begins to change. Your circle, your habits, your conversations, they all start aligning with the level you're operating on. Because what you focus on, you attract. If you focus on peace, you'll attract clarity. If you focus on purpose, you'll attract progress. Don't let distraction become the thief of your destiny. Keep your eyes forward. Keep your heart steady. Keep your mind clear. Purpose is calling you, and it won't compete for your attention forever. You have to decide that nothing and no one is worth losing your focus. So today, choose to refocus. Let go of what drains you. Step away from what delays you. Stop watering things that don't grow you. Pour everything you have into what aligns with your purpose. Because at the end of the day, purpose doesn't reward potential. It rewards focus. You can have all the talent, all the vision, all the dreams in the world, but if you lack focus, you'll keep circling the same mountains. There are moments in life when silence speaks louder than words, when restraint becomes your greatest response, when wisdom teaches you that sometimes the most powerful move you can make is to say nothing at all. Silence is not weakness. Silence is not surrender. Silence, when chosen with intention, is strategy. We live in a world addicted to noise, everyone talking, everyone reacting, everyone proving. But the higher you grow, the more you realize not everything deserves your voice. Some battles are won by withdrawal, not by words. Some storms are calmed not by shouting back, but by staying still. You must learn that silence is not about avoidance, it's about alignment. It's not about being passive. It's about being purposeful. Silence doesn't mean you don't know what to say. It means you know better than to say it right now. Timing is everything. And sometimes the best time to speak is after the dust has settled and truth can be heard clearly. Every wise person learns this at some point. When emotions rise, logic falls. And when you speak out of anger, you give power to things that don't deserve your energy. Silence becomes your protection. A shield that guards you from reacting out of impulse, from saying words you'll later regret, from engaging in conflicts that were never meant to define you. Silence is not about losing your voice, it's about mastering it. It's knowing when your words would build and when they would break. It's understanding that every response doesn't require a reaction. Every attack doesn't deserve an answer. The loudest person in the room is not always the strongest. Sometimes it's the quiet one with a plan. There is wisdom in stillness. There is power in pause. When you hold your peace, you hold your position. You stop letting your emotions lead you into traps set to distract you. You stop feeding fires that were designed to burn your focus. You begin to see that silence can sometimes shift more than shouting ever could. You don't have to announce everything you're working on. You don't have to defend every misunderstanding. You don't have to correct every rumor. When you walk with purpose, you learn to let results speak. Let your consistency become your comeback. Let your growth make the noise. Silence keeps your vision protected from premature exposure. Because sometimes sharing too much too soon invites opposition you weren't ready for. Silence is also strength in seasons of pain. When you're hurting, when life feels unfair, people betray you, your first instinct might be to vent, to prove, to speak. But silence gives you space to heal without interference. It gives you room to process without pressure. It gives you time to gather your strength before you rise again. Not everything broken needs an audience. Some healing happens best in private. The ones who learn to be silent and suffering often emerge the strongest in spirit. Because while others are talking, they are transforming. While others are reacting, they are rebuilding. They understand that silence is not absence, it's incubation. In the quiet, God refines you. In the quiet, clarity returns. In the quiet, purpose speaks. Silence teaches patience. It teaches trust. It teaches you that your voice doesn't have to compete. It will be heard when it's time. You don't need to prove your worth through words. You prove it through endurance, integrity, and results. There's something divine about restraint. It shows that your peace means more than your pride. Every great leader, every visionary, every person of depth has walked through a season where silence was their strategy. They didn't clap back at every critic. They didn't answer every accusation. They let time, truth, and fruit speak for them. Because silence doesn't just protect your peace, it preserves your power. When you stop explaining yourself to people determined to misunderstand you, you take back control. You no longer waste emotional energy on convincing anyone. You realize that people see through the lens of their own limitation. No matter what you say, some will twist it. So why defend what destiny will soon display? Let time reveal what talk tries to conceal. There's a difference between being ignored and being preserved. Sometimes God hides you in silence so that when you finally speak, your voice carries weight. Every season of quiet is not punishment, it's preparation. It's the space where your vision matures, where your spirit strengthens, where your perspective deepens. In the silence, you learn discernment. You begin to sense who's real and who's temporary. You start hearing whispers of wisdom that noise once drowned out. You realize that silence doesn't mean nothing is happening. It means something powerful is happening within. You can't always move and talk at the same time. When you're in construction mode, you don't need to broadcast the blueprints. Builders don't talk. Farmers don't shout at the soil. They plant in silence. Growth rarely announces itself. It just happens. Quietly, consistently, faithfully. Silence is not the absence of communication. It's the presence of control. It's knowing that your reaction can either heal or harm your destiny. It's realizing that sometimes your silence is not ignoring the problem. It's allowing wisdom to lead. You stop giving people power over your peace. You stop reacting to things beneath your purpose. When you stay silent in the face of provocation, people might call you weak. Let them. They don't understand the power it takes to hold your tongue when you have every reason to speak. It takes strength to walk away. It takes wisdom to wait. It takes maturity to respond with grace when you could easily destroy with truth. There's a peace that comes from silence. A quiet confidence that says, I don't have to fight this one. My purpose will speak for me. You realize that life doesn't reward those who talk the most, those who act with purpose. You stop wasting words on people who have already made up their minds about you. You let your fruit prove what your mouth doesn't have to. In silence, you start hearing the voice that matters most, the voice within. That still, calm whisper that reminds you of who you are, where you're going, and what truly matters. The world will always try to pull you into battles of noise, distraction, and drama. But your strength lies in your ability to stay centered. You don't win by shouting louder. You win by standing taller. You don't gain influence by talking more. You gain it by producing results that speak on your behalf. Silence isn't the end of the conversation, the beginning of revelation. So learn to pause, learn to breathe, learn to let silence do the talking when words would only stir confusion. Sometimes your greatest answer is your consistency. Sometimes your best response is none at all, because when you walk in purpose, silence becomes your secret weapon. It protects your peace, preserves your energy, and positions you for clarity. And when the right time comes, your silence will make the loudest sound, the sound of success, of victory, of peace. There comes a moment in every person's journey when you must decide, will I live for approval or will I live for purpose? Because the truth is, you cannot chase validation and vision at the same time. The need for validation will drain you. It will dilute your strength, distort your focus, and delay your destiny. The moment you start living to be seen, you stop living to be sent. You see, too many people are addicted to applause. They measure their worth by how many people notice them, praise them, or agree with them. But real growth, real purpose, real power, it doesn't come from public approval. It's born in private conviction. Validation is fragile. It changes with opinion. But conviction is eternal. It stands even when nobody claps for you. The danger of seeking validation is that it makes you dependent on people who didn't design you. You start adjusting your path to please voices that don't even understand your vision. You begin to shrink your calling to fit their comfort. You start dimming your light so others won't feel insecure. But purpose was never meant to be voted on. You weren't chosen by a crowd. You were chosen by a calling. There's a freedom that comes when you stop performing for people's approval, when you stop needing everyone to agree with you, when you realize that silence from others doesn't mean failure. Sometimes it means you're finally walking in alignment with who you were meant to be. The crowd can't always celebrate what they don't comprehend. Validation is a trap disguised as encouragement. It feels good for a moment. The likes, the praise, the recognition, but it doesn't last. Because once you start feeding on it, you'll need more of it to feel enough. You'll start chasing the next compliment, the next hand clap, the next, "You're amazing." But the moment the applause stops, your confidence crumbles. That's not peace, that's bondage. You have to learn to be comfortable walking unseen, to build quietly, to grow privately, to know who you are without needing to prove it to anyone, because purpose doesn't always look popular. Growth doesn't always get applause. Sometimes obedience will make you misunderstood. Sometimes elevation will make you isolated. And that's okay. Separation is often the setup for revelation. The truth is, validation is a counterfeit version of purpose. It mimics fulfillment, but never satisfies it. It makes you feel loved, but only conditionally. Makes you feel valued, but only when you perform. But purpose, real purpose, gives you peace even when no one else sees your worth. You don't need applause when you have alignment. You don't need approval when you have assignment. There are people who will never validate you simply because your growth reminds them of their stagnation. Your confidence exposes their insecurity. Your boldness threatens their comfort. If you live for their validation, you'll die from their rejection. You can't let someone's inability to see your value convince you that you don't have any. You must understand your identity is not up for debate. You were valuable before they noticed you. You were chosen before they applauded you. You were called before they accepted you. You don't need to be liked to be impactful. You don't need to be seen to be significant. When you stop seeking validation, you regain your power. You stop giving people permission to define your worth. You stop explaining your vision to those who were never meant to understand it. You stop asking for approval to be who you already are. You begin to move differently, not from insecurity, but from clarity. Validation is external. Vision is internal. Validation looks for confirmation. Vision looks for direction. Validation asks, do they like me? Vision asks, am I aligned with purpose? One keeps you stuck in cycles of performance. The other propels you into destiny. It's a dangerous thing to build your confidence on compliments, because when they fade, so will your strength. That's why you must anchor your worth in something deeper, in purpose, in truth, in identity. You don't need to prove who you are when you know who you are. Every great achiever, every visionary, every person who made history had to learn to walk without applause. They had to learn to believe when no one else believed. They had to trust their calling even when it didn't make sense to others. Because purpose will test your independence from validation. It will ask, can you still move when no one's cheering? Can you still build when no one's watching? Can you still believe when no one's clapping? There's something powerful about a person who doesn't need validation to keep going. Someone who doesn't crumble when criticized and doesn't change when praised. They're grounded. They're steady. They move from conviction, not from opinion. That's strength, not the loud kind, but the quiet kind that doesn't flinch under pressure. You have to protect your purpose from people who only show up when it benefits them. Some people will praise you when you're doing well, but disappear when you face struggle. Others will support you only as long as they can control you. Validation from those people is never real, it's conditional. That's why it's better to walk alone in authenticity than surrounded by people who love a version of you that isn't real. When you stop needing validation, you also stop fearing rejection. You realize that rejection isn't personal. It's redirection. Every closed door is guiding you towards something better suited for your purpose. Every person who walked away was part of your pruning, not your punishment. Don't waste your energy chasing approval from those who aren't assigned to your destiny. Some people were only meant to witness your beginning, not your becoming. Let them go. Let the noise fade. Because what's meant for you will recognize you. Not because you shouted louder, because your authenticity spoke clearer. You have to decide that your peace is more important than being liked, that your integrity is more important than being impressive, that your growth is more important than your image. Because the truth is, people can celebrate you one day and criticize you the next. If you live by their praise, you'll die by their opinion. Validation is temporary. Self-worth is eternal. One depends on applause. The other depends on awareness. One fades with time. The other deepens with truth. You must choose which one will guide you. Don't seek validation. Seek vision. Let your actions validate your assignment. Let your results validate your discipline. Let your peace validate your progress. When you stop chasing applause, you make room for authenticity. When you stop performing, you start forming, you start becoming. You don't need everyone to understand you. You just need to stay faithful to what you were created to do. The right people will recognize your value when it's time. The right opportunities will align when you're ready. But until then, keep building, keep believing, keep becoming, because validation fades, but vision fulfills. Approval changes, but purpose remains. The crowd may come and go. Calling is constant, so stop waiting for someone to clap before you move. Stop waiting for someone to notice before you act. Stop waiting for permission to walk in your power. You don't need validation when you're walking in purpose. You don't need applause when you're anchored in vision. You don't need agreement when you're aligned with destiny. Walk boldly, stand firmly, quietly if you must, but keep moving. World doesn't need another person desperate to be seen. It needs someone bold enough to believe without validation. There will always be noise around you, distractions, misunderstandings, rumors, and an unnecessary conflict trying to pull you away from your purpose. Hear this clearly, destiny outlasts drama. What's meant for you cannot be destroyed by gossip, delayed by jealousy, or derailed by disappointment. The drama may come, but destiny will still stand. Too many people lose focus trying to manage every misunderstanding. They waste energy defending their name instead of developing their purpose. But destiny doesn't need defending. It needs discipline. Now, when you know where you're going, you stop arguing with people who don't understand the journey. When you understand what's inside of you, you stop reacting to what's around you. Drama is loud, but it's temporary. Destiny is quiet, but it's eternal. Drama burns bright for a moment. Destiny burns steady for a lifetime. The people who create confusion today will be forgotten tomorrow, but your calling will still be standing when the noise fades away. Don't get distracted by the chaos that tries to surround you. Every battle deserves your response, and not every insult deserves your energy. Some storms come not to destroy you, but to reveal what's unshakable inside you. When you're truly walking in purpose, you don't need to fight every rumor. You just need to stay consistent. Time will prove what truth tries to whisper. Drama feeds on attention, but destiny feeds on endurance. The more you focus on the noise, the less strength you have for the work. So learn the art of silence, the power of patience, and the wisdom of focus. Keep your eyes forward. Keep your spirit calm. Let the storms rage. Your peace is your weapon. People will misunderstand you when you're growing. They'll misjudge your silence, question your decisions. They'll talk about your change because they can't handle your elevation. Don't stop moving just because others don't see your vision. Their confusion doesn't cancel your calling. Drama is always temporary, comes to distract, to test, to tempt you into reacting out of emotion instead of moving by purpose. But destiny is eternal. Destiny is the reason why the attacks come, the reason why the rumors rise, the reason why the obstacles show up. Because anything valuable attracts resistance. The moment you start walking in divine direction, opposition increases. But that's not a sign to quit. It's proof that you're close. Never let temporary noise make you doubt eternal purpose. The very people who criticize you today may later applaud you for your endurance. You can't live waiting for their recognition. You must live rooted in revelation. Because destiny doesn't move according to opinions. It moves according to obedience. You have to grow to a place where you say, let them talk, let them assume, let them doubt. You can't waste your life explaining your process to those who haven't experienced your pain. You can't convince people who are committed to misunderstanding you. Instead of fighting for attention, fight for alignment. Stay centered. Stay grounded. Stay focused. When Joseph was thrown into the pit by his brothers, he didn't let betrayal break him. When he was lied on by Potiphar's wife, he didn't let false accusation define him. When he was forgotten in prison, he didn't let disappointment destroy his faith. He understood something most people miss. Destiny outlasts drama. Every accusation faded. Every betrayal lost power. But his purpose prevailed. You see, destiny has a way of vindicating you without you saying a word. Time reveals what truth conceals. The people who tried to block you will one day have to watch you walk in the very blessing they tried to bury. That's why you must keep your peace. The battle isn't yours. It's part of your process. Drama drains, but destiny delivers. Drama confuses, but destiny clarifies. Drama exhausts you. Destiny strengthens you. That's why it's dangerous to let temporary emotions make permanent decisions. Every time you get caught up in proving a point, you lose progress. Every time you defend yourself to people determined not to understand you, you delay your next level. Your silence doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're wise. You've learned that responding to foolishness only feeds it. The loudest response is elevation. Keep building while they're talking. Keep showing up while they're doubting. Keep growing while they're gossiping. Because one day, your results will speak louder than your reputation. Drama wants you distracted. It wants your attention, your energy, your peace. When you refuse to engage, it loses its power. Destiny requires focus. You can't fulfill your calling while entertaining every conflict. You can't carry purpose and pettiness at the same time. Sometimes you'll have to walk away without closure. Sometimes you'll have to stay silent when everything in you wants to defend yourself. But that's not weakness. That's maturity. That's how you keep your spirit clean. Because destiny can't flow through bitterness. You can't reach your promise carrying resentment. Let it go. Release the need to prove anything. Let your future prove it for you. Everything you lose while protecting your peace is never a real loss. Everything that walks away when you choose purpose was never meant to stay. Some people are only comfortable with the version of you that stays small. The moment you grow, they call it pride. The moment you evolve, they call it change. They're not angry at your growth. They're uncomfortable with their stagnation. Don't waste time trying to make everyone understand your transformation. Some people can't comprehend what God is constructing. Let them talk. Let them assume you don't owe explanations when your destiny is speaking louder than your defense. The truth is, the same people who start drama around you often end up irrelevant in the long run because destiny will outlive every rumor, every lie, every false accusation. People may walk away, but purpose won't. Environments may change, but calling won't. You just have to endure the the place between being misunderstood and being manifested. That's where character is built. That's where your roots deepen. That's where your faith grows. Destiny doesn't unfold in comfort. It unfolds in chaos. But once it blooms, it silences every doubt. One day, the same mouse that gossiped about you will have to acknowledge your growth. Same people who underestimated you will have to admit your endurance. The same situations that tried to break you, you will become the proof of your strength. Because destiny never dies in drama. It develops through it. So stop being distracted by the noise. Keep your eyes on the mission. Keep your heart pure. Keep your energy guarded. Don't let temporary voices make you forget your eternal purpose. You weren't created to chase gossip. You were created to chase greatness. You weren't built for small battles. You were built for big callings. You weren't called to prove anything. You were called to become everything you were meant to be.